call the meeting to order, and it's our regular meeting of September the 26th, and we have some general business on our planning this evening. So with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if I could have a resolution for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions. Communication for action 5.3, Metropolitan Region, and communication for information 9.9.2, Lake Frederick.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Vasilevich, Councillor Strang seconds. Anything else for the agenda today, whether it be an addition, a deletion, or go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
Just a quick comment I want to make about someone having some issues with planning on getting a permit issued. Is that an in-camera?
Yes, that would be an in-camera
Okay.
item. Anything else? Hearing and seeing none, I have a mover, I have a seconder, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, we have one set of minutes from our last meeting on September 12th, and if I could have the resolution, please.
Resolve the minutes of September 12, 2023, regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Board member, or Councillor Horbus, second. Councillor Vasilevich, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, communications for action. We do have a few things there. The first one we have is the AMM Fall Conference, which is beginning on November the 28th.
Question?
Go ahead.
Are we going to be able to get finding rooms in the same place as opposed to us being scattered all over Brandon?
I think you guys are already scattered. We booked those a year ago. We can never get,
Okay.
somehow, for whatever reason, somebody scoops them up for us.
Yeah, and I, you know, I really feel that AMM should be doing something about that, whereas kind of taking turns, not that everybody, the same municipalities get the good rooms every convention when we're there. So, go ahead with the resolution if there's nothing else right now.
Resolve Mayor Peeble-Corn and Councillors Boulanger, Strang, and Vasilevich be authorized to attend the Association of Manitoba Municipalities 2023 Fall Convention at the Keystone Center in Brandon, Manitoba on November 28th to the 30th, 2023.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Horbus seconds. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I did not put down yes, but I did ask everyone
Yeah.
when the deadline was, and she said it's November 8th, so I will give you,
Yeah.
right now I'm feeling no, but
Right.
I just want my name down on the resolution.
Yeah.
That's a statement, sorry. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. You put no, but you can change your mind.
Yes.
But it's at the end of the month, right?
Correct. November
Yeah.
28th.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
saw
you
that
probably
I'm sure
will be,
on the
yeah.
line.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, so why don't I just put Mayor Peeble-Corn and councilors?
Yeah.
Councilors. Okay. Resolve Mayor Peeble-Corn and council be authorized to attend the Association of Manitoba Municipalities in the 2023 Fall Convention at the Keystone Center, Brandon, Manitoba on November 28th to the 30th, 2023.
Okay, I did have a mover and a seconder, if that's okay with the mover and seconder, that we change the names there. Okay, anything further on the convention? Hearing and seeing nothing, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. And then we have the Association of Rural Municipalities and the upcoming meeting in October. And I think we should have a resolution. Go ahead, Deepak.
Resolve Mayor Peeble-Corn and Councillor Strang, Sutherland, and Vasilevich be authorized to attend the Association of Rural Municipalities October meeting at the Selkirk Golf and Country Club, Selkirk, Manitoba, October 5th, 2023.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbus, second. Councillor Strang. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, carried. I just want to ask Heather, did you ever check?
She hasn't replied, so I'll
Okay.
check with her again.
Thank you. Heather was going to check if we have to do our municipal report, seeing as we missed last time because I wasn't there. Well, it's not on the list, that's why I'm asking. That's why I asked Heather to double check, because it's not on the list on the invitation that was sent this time around, so. 5.3, Winnipeg Metro Region, and this one I think I just got on Friday, so I asked that it be put on the agenda, and Deepak, if you want to go through it.
This is regarding the planning process for 2050 for feedback and leadership, and it's at the occurring at the Norwood Hotel, as well as on November the 1st, November the 7th at the Quarry Park Heritage Historic Center on Main Street in Stonewall, and as well on November 9th at the TC Energy Center in Ildershire.
Go ahead, Councilor Spicer.
I put unsure because, not sure if we're having a cow meeting that day, but you could put me down if it includes a cow meeting.
Go ahead, Councilor Strang.
I noticed that ours just had the one date that we were given the choice. Are we, or are you, is it open on the 3 dates? Is it the same?
It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's public consultation, so from what I understand, it will be the same presentation and everyone will have the same opportunity to voice their concerns or their, I guess, their comments on the plan 2050.
So are you planning on a cow meeting
On November 7th.
But there's still the November 1st or the November 9th still.
Okay, so are we gonna put which location, or are we just gonna authorize council members to attend?
We authorize council members to attend and decide if they can make one of those 3 days.
There's no fee for it if you show up.
Correct.
That's right, that's right. Anything else? I guess I have it in my, probably in my committee report, but I would suggest that anybody wanting more information go to the website, to the Winnipeg Metro website, and there's a whole section on the new plan 2050, and the new document is there, and I'm sure that there's a lot of other information that may be of some help to you to put your comments together or questions that you might have for the board. Having said that, if you want to read the resolution.
We'll leave it open for all council members, so it's a resolved Mayor People Corning Council be authorized to attend the Winnipeg Metro Region public consultation for the Capital Region Regional Plan.
Okay, moved by Councillor Bazarovich, second by Councillor Spicer. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. We are down to the financials on our agendas. Under number 7, our closed list of accounts, and if you could please detail.
Resolved Council approve the September 26, 2023 list of accounts, check numbers 23001702 to 23001816 in the amount of $873,197.31 for payment.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second. Councillor Spicer, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. I do have a question, but it's not with the amounts or anything. I guess I'm going to have to ask you to somehow go over that Haywards and what's on the list of accounts. Like, it looks like we're paying them money. But
That's just the way that it goes to Payworks in our accounting system, and then what you see is at the end, a list of all the Payworks where the money goes.
But we're still paying them.
No, it's just, it shows as a payment within our accounting system, because Payworks is a separate, separate system. So we change it from Uniware, transfer the funds into Payworks as an account. And then from Payworks, we have the payment to all our staff, which is the layout.
Okay, we can move on. And I guess we should put, oh, yeah, that should be okay. Might help.
You might as well shut it.
I'm wondering, Heather, can you get one of the staff to please put a note on the door that the council is in session? Please feel free to enter.
I think Sue was putting something
Oh,
else in
okay.
her email.
Thank you. point two, I believe, is the financial statement as of August 31st.
Resolve the August 31st, 2023 financial statement be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Borges, second. Councillor Strang. Any discussion on the financial statement? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And now we are down to our supplemental, the grants. Fixing feral felines is the first one we have on our list today.
So this is a grant request that we received from Fixing Feral Felines, and it was received at the last meeting, and council requested for some additional information. The proponent did, Ms. Walsh did submit some additional information. It does identify about 10% of the cats are being from the RMSA clients that they fixed in the past. And they've explained the details of how their system works, and they have said that they will be also looking at approaching other municipalities. We're one of the very first of those to request for funding support. And so the report itself is provided to give the full amount, and but it's up to council to decide on what would be a reasonable amount for providing it as a grant.
$1,000.
Okay, Councillor Boulanger has suggested $1,000. I know that they were asking for more than that, but I think as a startup, that should probably be okay. And if they are getting more money from other municipalities that they are working in or servicing, then we can look at a different figure for next year. I mean, we are getting close to the end of the year, so. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask Deepak then to read the resolution, please.
Resolved, council approve the following 22-23 requested grant. Fixing Feral Felines 2023, $1,000.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next one we have is the supplemental tax listing for 2023. And Deepak, if you want to go over that one, please.
The supplemental tax letters have all been sent out to all these roll numbers, and this is roll number of all supplemental taxes for 2023. As for the 2023, we estimate approximately, we had budgeted $140,000 as we do normally, which is about an average of what we received and what we anticipate we could receive out of growth. This year, we are above the target by about $125,000. So if there's no other questions on that, it's pretty straightforward. These are supplemental taxes that are basically determined after the tax rolls. Correct. So the situation here is that the entire tax amount comes to the RM.
Okay, I don't think, it doesn't look like there's any further questions, so please go ahead.
So whereas the additions and cancellations dated September 5th, 2023, prepared by the Province of Manitoba Assessment Services Department, Municipal Relations, are to be added to the tax rolls, and whereas under Authority Section 326 of the Municipal Act, a municipality may impose supplemental taxes for that year or a part of that year stated in the list with respect to the said lands, personal property, or business. Therefore, be it resolved, the list of additions and cancellations dated September 5th, 2023 be adopted, and the Chief Administrator Officer be instructed to calculate and enter the same in the 2023 tax rolls and where applicable to the 2022 tax rolls.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so that takes us down to number 8 on our agendas, which is the bylaws. And the first one we have is bylaw number 8 of 2023, and that is capital reserve funds. And go ahead on that one, please.
So this is the third reading you may recall, we did a presentation on this. This is our third meeting to deal with bylaw 8. Our first meeting, we read it for the first time. At the second meeting, I provided a presentation and walked through the details at the last meeting as to how it would be implemented. I had requested that council hold back on the third reading until we did some further investigation, especially when it was dealing with multi-family units, and see if there was a consistent approach applied, specifically stating that we charge, the fees would be collected similar to any other for connection fees, but there's also the development fees that go by land. And so as an example, if you had one parcel of land, you would put one piece of property on it, you would be charged for that one parcel, or if you created two parcels, you'd be charged for that one additional parcel. In this case, an example of somebody coming in and putting in a multi-story building, the road levy and the lot levies would still be only for one lot, because there is no additional lots being created. Now, if you did the same for a bare land condo that's separated, it would be charged for each additional lot. And so we wanted to see if that was fair and equitable and see what the other municipalities were doing. So far, the only municipality out of all the ones that we had originally investigated is the Arnold McDonald, which does charge a per unit fee, but none of the other municipalities are charging. So what I'm recommending is that we proceed with our bylaw as written, and that council give direction for us to do a much more thorough review to see what's fair and equitable. Because in a sense, the intent of these structures is to encourage more, like the lot levy charges and that, is to encourage more densification. And so having lot, that's why I think most of the municipalities aren't charging it. But I think we should look at it and see what's happening in a much more wider scale.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
I would also suggest that, or maybe you have the answer to this. We're talking about secondary suites and/or garden suites, and I'm inquiring about water and sewer hookups. So, is it a situation where, let's say we have a property with a garden suite and a main residence, so would they be paying one hookup charge or two?
They should be paying two hookup charges for the connection fees.
Okay.
But they would be, now some may try to argue that they have them sharing a tank, and they would try to have one connection fee. That would be dependent, because it's usually charged by the meter connection. And so, our point of contention would be that there's two units here, and we should be charging for two. That's something that I can clarify.
It's two curb stops to them?
Pardon?
Two curb stops.
Because there'd be two curb stops. If there was one curb stop, then there'd be just a charge for the connection. What I was talking more about was the lot levy fees.
Yeah,
that are
no,
separate.
I
Yeah. And
sorry.
so the capital development levies would still be no charge for a garden suite,
Yeah.
but they should have an additional connection charge if they're looking at having a separate unit. Now, council can also pass a resolution saying that in order to encourage garden suites, as an example, they would not charge, but that would be up to council to decide.
It's just something to,
We'll address that
Consider,
as we move
yes.
forward. That's a very good point.
Well, Derek, look
Yes. We'll probably get it addressed in the zoning review.
Okay, anything else on bylaw 8? Go ahead, please, Deepak.
Resolve that bylaw 8 of 2023 being a bylaw to provide capital reserve funds for new development fees of utility infrastructure by charges and other fees required as part of the land development be read a third time.
Can I have the mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, going down to number 8.2 on our agenda, and it's bylaw number 9 of 2023.
And again, Madam Mayor, this was held off from being read a third time from the last meeting because it's directly related to bylaw 8, where it identifies where the utility expansion reserve from the funds collected, where the money should go from the funds collected. And since we've updated the bylaw, we need to update this. So resolve bylaw 9 of 2023 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6 of 2016 water utility expansion reserve as amended be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Corbus seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And 8.3, bylaw 10 of 2023.
And bylaw 10 of 2023 is coming in for second and third reading. This was brought over at the last meetings, which was to rename or to use same place as one of the subdivisions. And so whereas subdivision S22 of 2955 has been approved and is in the registration process, and whereas the plan of subdivision shows no name on the road and will be registered as a public road, and therefore be it resolved, Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements proceed to pass second reading of the road naming bylaw 10 of 2023 same place.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Corbus, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And bylaw number 10, not 10 of 2023 for third reading, please.
Whereas subdivision S22 of 2955 has been approved and is in the registration process, and whereas the plan of subdivisions shows no name on the road and will be registered as a public road, therefore be it resolved, road naming bylaw 10 of 2023, same place, be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. I just have a question on that. I remembered a number of years ago, we always used to try and get the applicant to put the road name on the plan so it would be registered all at the same time. Has something changed there, or was
No,
this kind of just
This
missed?
was missed in this particular application. That's why it had to come back as a separate bylaw to be added in there. Normally it would be as part of the application.
Yeah, see, we always used to encourage that because then they didn't have to go through that process and we didn't have to do a bylaw to name the road if it was right on the plan before it was registered, so. Yeah, so, okay, we can move on to bylaw number 11, to open a municipal road for first reading.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And now, this is another one of those, and thank you for bringing the other one. It's a good segue to this one. This one is related with Looting Lane, where we did go through a subdivision. We identified the road opening, and it was addressed, and it would have been part of the registration process. Unfortunately, we needed to get signatures from all applicants and all properties affected, and one of the property owners insisted that a bylaw be put in place. Although the through a resolution of council, although the land titles office and the registrar there has stated very clearly that it's not needed, but in order to get this signature in place between the property owner and for a Looting Place to be opened, we needed to get this bylaw forward. So our legal has recommended that we just put forward the recommendation and proceed so that we can make sure it's inside. And so this is the municipal road opening, which was Looting Lane, as you may recall, which went through the subdivision process in Gull Lake. It was all it was to separate the two parcels in order to provide a proper access for Looting Lane. So resolved bylaw 11 of 2023 being a bylaw to open Looting Lane in northwest and northeast section 36-16-7 EPM is given first reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, second, please. Councillor Strang, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried.
It's been approved.
Okay, in those administrative comments, I was just reading here as you were talking, is it to widen or to open Louis Lane?
It's to widen, but it is an opening.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, so that takes us down to number 9 on our agendas, which is communications for information, and I'm not sure, Deepak, if you have anything that you wanted to chat about there, or any members of council?
Councillor Strang, that's okay.
I'm sorry, Sandra, go ahead.
That's
Councillor
okay.
Strang.
I just wanted to commend Lebo Community Club for all their activity and all the, just getting their community together. So they have lots of things going on there, so hats off to all the volunteers there.
Yes, I think they've done an awesome job of getting everything together, and they have lots of activities going on and so on and so forth, so. Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
I don't know if we do this or not, but wouldn't it be worthwhile to send somebody an email or a letter just from council saying, and maybe we don't do this enough to some of our volunteer groups, like if they got an email from council saying, we just want to recognize that you guys have been doing, when someone's doing good at something and doing well, that encourages you. That geez, we got a letter from council saying, you know, kudos to you for, I don't know, it doesn't have to be something long. Even Brenna could put something together just from the council that we've noticed over the last X amount of years that, you know, exponentially things have been happening in Legal. We just want to extend our, just sometimes it gives that bit of a boost.
Well, I'm sure, and I think they have worked very hard. I mean, I've been at a couple of events there, so, you know, and they're always glad to see members of council, and, you know, like the one comment that I got one day, and somebody said, oh, the mayor's even here today. So, you know, if you're there and they recognize you, that's a good thing too, that we are taking part in the community, which I think sometimes we don't all do enough. Like, I missed the event on Sunday, and I really wanted to be there, but it just didn't work out, so. Good point, go ahead, Deepak.
Madam Mayor, would you like to pass a resolution that the letter be sent to the Legal Community Club
We have to pass a resolution for it, or just?
to direct the administration to do it if you'd like it from council? And I think a resolution would be then also as that on such and such date, council resolved to thank Community Club, Legal Community Club.
Well, and I don't have a problem with that, I'm just thinking that, you know, some of the other groups may get a little frustrated or offended that we've sent to one and not to them for their hard work. Like, that's it. I don't have a problem with doing it, but if we're gonna send to one, maybe there's more than one that we should be sending to.
And then the one that doesn't get appointed.
It doesn't matter differently.
I'll get Brenda to send one just by.
Yeah.
for
Or
the
even
administration.
anecdotally that Brenna says it came up in a meeting that you guys are
Right.
doing well.
Yeah,
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think if Brenna did it, that would
Yeah.
probably be the best. Okay, anything else on the info correspondence for council? Okay, so that brings us down to our council reports. And I think today I'm going to start with Councillor Boulanger.
I have nothing to report since our last meeting.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Strang?
Don't have much, but September 13th, Red River North Tourism meeting I attended, and one of the things they were asking for the municipalities to come up with, since we did give them a little bit of extra money, of what we would like to see for tourism, what we would like to see them at for our municipality. So one of the things I was discussing with Councillor Spicer is maybe, and I don't know if this has been brought up previously, but how about even at Folk Fest, you know, the main gates to Birdsville Park are in our municipality, so like I don't know if Red River North Tourism has ever thought of going there, but it is a thing. And I know we have to get our sign up on 59 Highway too, so.
We have a couple
I don't know if
that
we
we
can
need to
get an
get
update on that to see where it is, because I know that was brought up previously with our previous Public Works manager, so I don't know if that's something you can bring up with the new one to see. Is there a sign around? But just things like that. But anyways, that was one of the things that they did go around. They do attend the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show, which they do get great response for that. One of the things they were asking is for the RMs if we have spots set for ice fishing, because you know we do get lots of people come out to our municipalities. So they were going to make a map of different spots to direct them to. And
Maybe it'd be good to get them in touch with legal, if we got stuff happening all the time, we can put that in there.
sure. Actually,
And Gull Lake too, because Gull Lake just recently had that picnic and their dinner there and that, like, stuff like that should be,
yeah, Dave, you bring up a good point. Our community center is getting that message gone to them to say that there is free advertising. So just of our events going on, because that's for Red River North Tourism that they will, and also Interlake Tourism will do it also for free for us also. So we have a couple of
because I think there's some other stuff coming up here too, isn't there? I think over here at the rec center too. or
Yeah, there is something coming up with
Yeah.
the rec center.
So maybe that would be, if they somehow to link those two that, you're in touch with each other all the time, right?
So I guess I don't know, I guess I can ask them, so do we get Brenna to be like the
I was
Yeah,
gonna
the
say,
go-between.
yeah.
go-between, yeah. So for her just to put out, hey, if you have any events going on, I know that for fall suppers, they're asking that they will do free
Yeah, I
advertising.
saw
But anyways,
this.
Interlake and Red River North Tourism, they'll both do,
Patricia Beach too.
you know.
I saw a listing of fall suppers. I think it was on the Red River North website, and there was actually, I was quite surprised at how many fall suppers there was going on in the area. Maybe it was Interlake Tourism. One of them had them all listed there, so I thought that was pretty good, because I didn't realize that they were resurrecting the fall suppers.
I don't know if there's anybody at Vaughan there too, if they could get in touch with them, because they've got stuff happening here too, all the time. Maybe that's something that they could, I mean, we wouldn't promote that, but if they had a person there to get in touch with, Scanbury would be talking, yeah.
Actually, I think Red River North Tourism goes there, and I think Interlake does too, because I know I dropped off a bunch of pamphlets even at South Beach for them, so.
And now Broken Head and Sugar Nation are members of the Beaches of 59 group. So there should be some opportunity to share other information with them. Because that's another website that's also.
Well, one of the things brought up at our meeting was for Lois and Marilyn also to start charging a little bit for their time, because they are all our volunteers, and for some of their mileage, just to get some of their gas back, because they do a lot of, like, Marilyn was at the Red River Paddle Challenge. She was there at 6:30 in the morning. She opened the gates and got everything ready and was setting up the tents. She set ours up last year. This year, Taylor came and helped her, and she was a great asset there too. I introduced her to a lot of people, and she was great. But anyways, and that was my other event that I
Did you know
did on
about that,
Sunday.
Dave? Did you know about that?
I had other commitments, so I wasn't there.
That was on Sunday, so that was, and people from all over, from South Dakota, Minnesota, BC, Ontario, Montana. I'm trying to think of all the,
Sounds like a country western song.
they come out, they were down in entries. Last year they had 147, this year they only had 100 entries for it, but still lots of people out.
Did they say anything about how their Saturday event went? Because I know it was the 2 days this year.
I didn't get the amount of entries, but they started at St. Adolphe and then came up to the St. Vital Park and then,
Right.
so that was the Sunday, it was a Saturday, yes. That was the first year, and it's for the 100-kilometer.
Awesome.
Anyways, that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
I don't have much either. September 22nd of our meeting via Zoom. And it was mostly, we talked about the upcoming forum on the 24th and 25th. And that's it for me.
Thank you for that.
What's
Councillor,
your GMCC? Did you do that, Art?
I mentioned that at the last.
Councillor Horvis.
I have nothing, just today's comment, that's all I have.
Okay. Councillor Bezarowicz.
I'm the same as Mr. Rose.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer. I know you have a couple of things anyways.
September the 20th, we had Red River Planning District, regular meeting. And then the 21st, meeting at Regional Library, we had a regular meeting for the library. September 23rd, I was at the open house at the Maryland Fire Hall. Good turnout, lots of kids there. It was pretty awesome. People coming and going for the whole time that it was there. September 24th, Red River Paddle Challenge and
Thanks for that. Yeah, I don't have very, oh, go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I was just going to ask if our CEO could, when he has a meeting with the fire chiefs, if we could, I would have liked to attend, I didn't know about it, but if they, when they're planning their open house, you know, they can sort of give you dates.
Certainly. I know he tells us.
It's in the paper. Yeah, I saw it.
October
It was on the
14th.
it was online, it was online, and it was on the website, and it was in the paper, in the journal.
outside the hall for festivals.
Yeah.
If you don't go that way though, you don't see it.
Oh, it's 3 different areas.
But too, just letting council know when
That's
these
right,
happen,
yeah.
like whether it's East Beaches, East Selkirk, like
I'll
any.
talk to them.
Yep, no, just bring that up and like, done and over, but.
I know
We
East
get to-
Selkirk's is in 2 weeks, it's on the 14th, and I think it's up on the reader board if you go past the fire hall, I think it's up there, but that's what it says. Maybe you don't, I don't go down Henderson Highway,
It was
so.
also circulated on our, but you make a very good point, I'll bring it up in my CAO reports in the future.
Okay, anything else? I don't have very much this time around either. September 12th, our regular council meeting. September the 14th, the Winnipeg Metro Region. It was a good meeting. There was a lot of discussion about the upcoming public consultation, and there were a number of items that were discussed, and time was spent reviewing the steps for the public consultation prior to the adoption. Chief Blue Sky, as a provincial appointee, was there for his first meeting, and the fourth member on the executive still has not been named by the province, so I'm not exactly sure what is happening there, because it was supposed to be the chair, the vice chair, and 2 members, general public, that the province was appointing, and they still haven't appointed the 4th person, so. And I guess I just put in here that there are specific timelines on how, or time limits on how, when, and where this will be done. A lot of good discussion, and since this meeting, we have had the invitation for the public consultation, so. And I just put all information can be found on the website. September 20th, I attended a virtual seminar with Dr. Gord McIntosh, and it was on promoting civility. It was not too bad of a seminar. I was very, very disappointed in the numbers. There were not that many there were not that many people attending, and there was some good information presented. And if anybody was interested, I do have a link. It is on YouTube. If you just put in Dr. McIntosh's name, you should be able to find that because it's on there. So. And September the 20th, as Councillor Spicer said, we did have our RRPD meeting, and a little bit longer than normal. We had a public hearing regarding a rezoning application in West St. Paul, and that took quite some time. There were a lot of presenters on that one. And then we also had an in-camera session on some budget items that we need to discuss. And that's all I have. Okay, Pat, yours?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, starting off with the daycare project in East Alfred, the construction of the daycare building has achieved completion and the daycare provider has received occupancy approval. They are in the process of moving their equipment and furniture in, and the lease agreement with hand-in-hand daycare provider for the East Alfred Daycare Center will now be in effect. And we will start making arrangements for snow clearing and other services. Now, there is a warranty period associated with the daycare, and of course that now goes into effect for any items. And there's a very extensive deficiencies list that was identified anywhere from marking on ceiling tiles to, some flashing missing or something, or the grading of the soil, so all that's being addressed and that will be completed. The daycare is planning a grand opening on Friday, September the 29th. So this Friday, they're planning a grand opening at their site, so all council is invited to attend.
Are we gonna clear that lot, or are we gonna?
We'll be clearing that lot.
Okay, and they have to clean the sidewalk and all that other stuff, and that things in the back, or do they hire somebody to do that?
In the back, inside the daycare, they'll be cleaning their own sidewalks, but we'll be taking care of the site itself for
Like the
sidewalk.
front door and all that kind of stuff? So that people who do that here, will do that there?
That's what
And
we're,
then we're gonna clean the lot with our labor.
correct. So the curb stop connections, the contractor continues to work on installing the curb stops and also doing some of the private installations as requested by some of the residents. The work on Henderson Highway, they are working on Henderson Highway right now and expect to complete by the end of October or latest early November. The contractor continues to contact residents before they show up on site, and they will work with them on then coming back later to do the private installs. And so far, the project seems to be going at its rate. As to the St. Clements Activity Center, the RFP for the construction is closed, and we are reviewing submissions in the next 2 weeks. The selection of the design build contractor will be coming to the next council meeting. As the project is an Investing in Canada infrastructure project, we will also need support from the federal and provincial government. It requires some additional due diligence and reporting to the province as part of the selection process. But we are the council is the one that will be making the final decision on selection on the recommendations of the administration. Number 4 is the installation of the regional water project. It has begun, and the contractor has been fusing pipes along the alignment for the water line, and that's those black lines and pipes that most people have been asking about and what they were, and that's the water lines that they've been fusing some 500 meters at a time so that they can directionally drill them afterwards. The contractor will be starting from the floodway and working north, and then in the spring finish off from the floodway going south up to 44. The total for, as well as our wastewater project, the lift station, and then the Lockwood decommissioning RFP will be out shortly. It's either this week or next week is my understanding. And the total for both projects has been communicated previously as $6.5 million, which includes $3.25 million from the Manitoba Water Services Board. There are some challenges we've encountered on the regional water line, and that's mainly around just outside of the water treatment plant here, where it was going to run down Highway 59 alongside Highway 59, but it seems to be in the slope of Highway 59, so we are looking at maybe adjusting that alignment. And I can, as it does have impact on land dealings, I will discuss that with you in camera. General meetings, CMHC Housing Accelerated Fund discussions with the federal government. Some good news, at least I see it as good news. They came back with several questions, which required a few days to complete those questions. They gave me a maximum of 5 business days to respond. Unfortunately, 3 of those business days I was out of the country, so I had to quickly respond to those. I tried my best to respond to them outside the country, but I didn't have the capacity to finish. But out of the rural municipalities that have the only ones they've come back and asked some additional questions, which I see as good news, which means they're reviewing it, which, if they're reviewing it, which means they're at least considering it, as opposed to not considering it all and not hearing back at all. So they have looked at it. This is the second round of questions with me. And so I'm feeling confident, but cautiously confident.
I have some comments for that, but I'll address in camera later.
Okay,
And the curb stop project management meeting, we had a curb stop project management meeting, as well as, and I want to discuss some issues that have come out of that. But at the curb stop, we've also circulated all the letters for the end of September to go out for not the curb stop project management meeting was the one I attended. St. Clements Activity Center project meetings that have been attended with various general meetings with business operations. As well, our monthly update of the fire department statistics for August are still missing, at this point East Soccer and East Beaches, as they have been behind in updating the system. And that just tends to happen in the summer, and so we'll be looking at getting more regular updates. So the following statistics this month are mainly the narrow fire departments. There were 6 emergency calls, and those were those emergency calls, but they're specifically fire department, narrow fire department. So as to the monthly updates, again, we are animal control for the month of July are also behind. Sorry, I should have corrected that. That should be the month of August. So the bylaw enforcement are St. Clements for the month of August are 9 complaints, 5 cautious dogs at large, and 2 patrols. I'll get that corrected on the final printing of the agenda. But for the monthly update from our bylaw enforcement, they've continued to have some problems in updating their system. So last month, you may recall, I didn't have any information from bylaw enforcement, so these are actually the July updates. So they were able to get the July in, but they haven't been able to provide the August. They should be ready in the next week or 2, so hopefully by the next month I'll be able to give 2 months of updates for Prairie bylaw. So they did 16 tickets total, 5 calls for service, 3 animal control, 8 off-road vehicles, 5 warnings, and 3 burning and 2 noise complaints. General update from the administration, the curbside, that's what I was referring to, I got mixed up. Curbside invoices are being mailed out along with an insert to explain the fees and the option of using East St. Paul for yard waste. So what we've done is we've looked at, now that we're using East St. Paul for the yard waste, we are communicating that through our website, through our Twitter, as well as our Facebook, but we're also put it into the Selkirk Record, and we've provided pamphlets at Clark and Dunning, as well as we're also putting it in the mailer, and I'll show you a copy of the mailer. And so in the mailer that's going out with the bills for curbside waste for their September billing, it talks about the curbside recycling pickup, the 2023 bills issued. It talks about the correspondence was issued to all residents and what this is all about, and there will be an invoice in there. And then at the bottom of it also mentions about the new yard waste disposal service. And the pamphlet you see on the right is the one that's being handed out, and it kind of explains the process and what we're doing with East St. Paul.
No feedback on any of it?
Feedback from residents, from what I've seen, I think there's been about 5 or 6 comments on Facebook, some positive, some still complaining about not being able to take garbage in the future when they close Dunning and what will happen. Most of them, there were also some good responses in there as well. We're thankful for what we're doing. I did have some calls already from a couple of residents who were asking, because we said that we would report back for fall yard waste, and which we did, and so it seemed to be very happy, especially one of the presenters that came when we made the bylaw change.
you know, I had a phone call, and they were very appreciative of the flyer when they went to the transfer station. So they said, they wrote this to say thank you. So I said, I will pass it along at our council meeting on Tuesday. So that was a nice positive phone call rather than something negative. So it was nice to hear, and they were very happy with that. And they also asked about if in the future, and I said, we are doing a study right now, so.
And our communication has been consistent, which is the Dunning well being closed when we have an option available. And right now, we're investigating, and there's no change. Dunning is still available for garbage and tires and all those right now that can be sent over to Dunning. Although at reduced hours. And so, we've also did review the audit process with our auditor, as well as the additional staff we brought in to get the 2021 and 22 audits, especially the nominal surplus discussion that we had with council resolved, so that we get these audits finished and get them out of the way. Draft TIP bylaw will be reviewed at the next council cow meeting. We have a TIP bylaw that's been established for discussion purposes of the council to take a look at for East Selkirk. The other is the preparing for tax payments with the drive-through option. We'll continue again this year. We'll be utilizing the same provider for the trailer, and we'll be setting it up in the RM parking lot as we did in previous years, and it's been very well received. The electric vehicle chargers, as you know, the East Selkirk Recreation Center was completed as of last week or early this week. Grand Marais has also been installed and is being utilized over there. And from my understanding, Grand Marais Community Central is quite excited to have that. The purchasing policy report has been recommended. Policy changes will come forward for discussion with council again at the COW meeting. And then we have the heavy equipment review that we had hired, that we received authorization from council to hire the contractor who's already started consultations on that, so that we can, update our asset management on our heavy equipment for public works, similar to what we did for fire departments. That's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Go ahead, Councilor Boulanger.
I'm just wondering if Mr. Administrator can bring up that email that I sent you with those pictures on the big screen, so I can just, we have a quick thing on that road over here.
Sure.
Take 60 seconds. I just emailed you the name today, right now. This is 435, which is a provincial road just 2 miles from us here. When you look at these pictures, here's one, show them the next one, that, and then show them this one. This is one of our ratepayers' son's truck, who lives down that road the last 25 years. They feel, when you look at those pictures, that the road contributed to that accident, which I can't believe he lived through. I have a recommendation and I have a suggestion. She wrote an email to me, Heather Kelly, telling me about this. She told me she phoned a supervisor in Beausejour who gave her the runaround as to why the roads, that's a provincial trunk highway. And he gave her the runaround as to why the road's in the condition it is. Not only has that road in 212 right here not seen fresh gravel in over 3 years, he said that dust control is the responsibility of the municipality. Dust control is separate from this, but it all has to do with how he explained things to her when she called about this accident. We know we have done dust control on 435 because we have ratepayers that live within our RM on a provincial road. We know the reasons why we gave them dust control. So a precedence was set there in terms of the dust control. But where I'm going with this is, if we all think that that provincial road is acceptable to be in our RM, in my view, it's not. And it's another example of this government cutting back, cutbacks in their programs. And when you talk to their superintendents, they say that their budgets have been reduced by half.
Yep.
My recommendation is that council or Mr. Administrator write a one-paragraph letter, something brief, to the Minister of Highways, because Heather Kelly sent this email with these pictures to the Minister of Highways. That was my suggestion to her. What would be nice is if our municipality and our council sent a letter to the Minister of Highways also mirroring the concerns of Ms. Kelly. That's my recommendation. My suggestion would be that if you want, I could put a quick two-letter or two-paragraph thing together and give it to administration and to council to peruse and go over. I think it's important that in these situations, we put the ministers on notice that we as a council and we as an RM don't think that that road is acceptable to be in our municipality. On the dust control note, my question to Ms. Kelly, and my question to Ms. Kelly to tell the superintendent, is to ask her, or answer her this very simple question. Why is 212, right here, a provincial trunk highway, dust controlled from end to end, from 59 to 44, double wide, dust control every year? That is a highways PTH, and they dust control it from end to end. But yet 435, where we made eye contact as an RM to put dust control in benevolence to our ratepayers, why we have to do it. It's a dichotomy. They dust control all of 212 PTH and don't put a drop on 435 PTH.
They do 500 too.
There you go. So all I'm saying is we need, in these situations, to send and put on notice the minister of that department to say it's unacceptable, and Council of St. Clements wants to let you know that.
I'll just say one thing, well, I'll save it for in camera.
Those are my comments. I wanted it in public setting. I wanted it recorded, and that's why I wanted to bring it up.
That's it.
So
Okay, anything
Madam Mayor,
else?
does the councilor want to pass a resolution for the CAO to send a letter to the minister?
I believe that we probably should have a letter sent to the minister, which you would be putting together and sending off to the minister. Now, I guess we could do it now. I mean, we should do it now.
She
but
sent the email. It would be nice for it to sort of get there within the next few weeks of each other, so at least they see the seriousness of it.
Right. Well, and I would suggest that we also would have to copy our MLA, and don't
Sure.
forget, in 2 weeks, we don't know who's gonna be sitting in that
No, true,
minister's chair.
that's the point I was told already, and I just don't not want to send it because of that.
Right, right.
It'll go to the next minister, hopefully.
Well, I don't know how their workings are, but I guess if there is a change, once we know who the new minister may be, then we could send another letter to the new minister if that happens.
I would have to.
Well, it should go to their office, not the Beausejour office, but the office
No,
of the
no.
minister.
At the ledge.
No, no,
Yeah.
I'm saying-
And then he has somebody that looks after specifically that stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying to the minister of highways at the legislative building.
Yeah, yeah.
Might I suggest that
Go
we
ahead.
pass a resolution instructing the CAO to send a letter to the new minister, since the election is only on as of Monday.
Okay, I'm good with that, as long as it gets there, and commenting on Miss Kelly's, in the letter, comment on Miss Kelly's email that was sent with pictures, because, again, if you put it to those road conditions, the picture instead of that tow truck, I just can't believe that that road looks like that. I don't know what you guys think, but unbelievable. Thank you.
Councilor, you could pass the resolution, and we could have a seconder.
Madam Chair, I'd like to pass a resolution that we send a letter to the Minister of Highways regarding this incident that I just explained.
Thank you. Council Graziano seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
That's the end of our items, Madam Mayor. We could take a supper break and do in camera after that until our planning meeting.
Stop
I think we'll take a break first, and then we'll go in camera and have supper. So we'll just have maybe 15, 20-minute break, and then we'll go.
We got time for a nap after this.
Council recessed for supper at
3:03.
3:03 p.m. and reconvene at 6 p.m.
We got leftovers for Sunday.
Make some calls and get them in here early.
We're not gonna do December reserve.
No, we're not bringing something, so we're taking a break and we'll go with 8 count.
So is that,
Just waiting for it to
Just
get
wait
up.
for a second.